Okay, not too shabby. So, a lot of noise in the domestic household going on right now. That's okay. The good thing is I find that the daily efforts to run uh, does wonders as far as creating good coping, excuse me, good coping mechanisms for any type of obstacles that may uh, present themselves in the course of our daily life. Now, I entitled this something to the effect of the American Orthodoxy. And so, understanding the political beast, the people just talk about this a lot. And I think one of the problems is that we, really generally just look at one angle. There are different perspectives. There's the macroscopic perspective, trying to look at it from, you know, cultural and historical perspective. There's the microscopic and trying to identify root causes of the the political situation, and trying to determine realistically what it is. Now, here's something that I've been able to determine overall is that if a lot of the things that the people on the left say were true, not to say that they're not, then things would be different. Um, Donald Trump would be in jail. Donald Trump would have never become president. So the fact that he did become president is still uh, the biggest signal that shit is seriously going down. And really, a large part of what's happening here is this ideological battle. And a lot of it makes sense if you stop and think about it. Think about the ground forces that Russians have. Think about the ground forces that the Chinese have. Okay. These are basically, very, in North Korea, another one, very, totalitarian states with a very, with a very tight state controlled military. And that's what a lot of Republicans want. They want to basically have a state control of the military. They don't want the military to be an independent branch. They want it to basically be a solid, comparable force that really overwhelms any other force that is on the planet. There is this hardcore Orthodox American red, white, and blue uh, zeitgeist that is very, very common throughout. Doesn't matter if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, or if you're an independent. Most people believe in the American manifest destiny. A lot of people believe in the one nation under God. Of course, what has helped that is the fact that they actually introduced that into the Pledge of Allegiance to basically help, tether the spiritual, ideological belief system a little bit more, to make them tighter, which makes them harder to unwind. I mean, if you combine a spiritual and ideological, emotional tether, strong emotional bond, and you actually inculcate it and you cultivate it through cultural rites and activities and sayings and ways of being and what have you, that is what brings us to the situation that we're in today. Red, white, and blue love football. Football is a boring fucking sport. It is a paramilitary sport, and uh, it glorifies personal assault. It really is a highly aggressive game. But people who love the sport say, so what? It is a highly aggressive. I am a highly aggressive person. I think I should be a highly aggressive person. You cannot argue with a person that says shit like that. And I have no intention of doing it. Really. I just know you for what you are, an aggressive fuck. That's not the way I am. I do have a sort of an aggressive mindset. I don't feel the need to overpower people physically, whether with artificial instruments or with my body, to basically intimidate a person. I do think that that is the recourse of the weakest mind. And I really do believe that in all sincerity. And there are a lot of weak minds, and they are in part purposely designed, in part in many ways ignored. Not so much that it is conspiratorial in the sense that it is manufactured, but conspiratorial in the sense that it is just, who gives a fuck? Because really, at the end of the day, something that I said in the other video was we net 80 people on this planet per minute. So as it stands, we are a decent renewable resource. You know, 80 people per minute. I mean, it may not sound like a lot, but definitely per minute. And then the multiplication and the compounding and the combinations and the permutations. Whoo, it is a clusterfuck. And that's what they capitalize on, is the chaos and the confusion, and that's what they're doing right now. They're just creating chaos and confusion, to basically marginalize the enemy, and continue on their fucking just steamrolling fucking bonkers bullshit authoritarian nonsense, which is really, it is so illy defined that I would love to see them all organized in one country. Just, I would love to see that. I would love to see what they do to each other. It wouldn't be anything pretty. I can't. I mean, it would be, again, splitting hairs. You cannot argue with a closed loop. When you are speaking with a person, the biggest waste of time debating people who want to debate about God is just go straight to the source. Are you able to accept the fact that there is no absolute moral authority, absolute reality, absolute truth, absolute ethical value system? Because if you can't, how can I talk to you? Where can we go? There's nothing. The only thing we're doing is trying to find fancier ways of saying our own nonsense. It's not really making any headway on the conversation whatsoever. And that's basically the nature of the political situation, is that it is it's an unwinnable ideological battle. But the Republicans, the greed, the consumer greed, the consumer hedonism. I mean, the unfettered consumerism, which is manifested in the fact that the average person's body is now overweight, if not obese. That is systemic. That is not an individual failure. Going back to the other vlog where I mentioned that call centers and other jobs are They are modern day slave gallows. Most people that work those jobs feel they don't have enough money. And so they use their additional time to try to get more money to basically satisfy very superficial needs. Now, I've had those superficial needs, and I'm not judging when a person pursues those things. It's not a matter of judging the person for what it is, a matter of understanding what they are doing and why they are doing it. And the reason they're doing it is they have no vent. The thumb is fucking like right down on them. There's very little recourse. The whole 40-hour work week is bullshit nonsense. The whole job application process is bullshit nonsense. They don't need to know fucking your entire life history, because when you go into that situation where you're just giving and giving and giving, this is a sales technique where they put you at the disadvantage by saying, give us all this information and we're going to make a decision based on the things that you give us. Playing right into their fucking hands. The only thing they need to know is the only thing that they need to know is really that it's legal for you to work and that you have a social security number and that you do have a birth date, a legal birth date. They don't need to know that, the legal birth date, until after they hire you. They can make a decision based on the words that you can say in front of them, the sentences that you can put together, whether or not you're qualified to do a minimum wage paying job. They can tell. They don't need to know all that fucking bullshit. But it's all about the psychological dynamics of control. That is what this is all about. Because we are a loose herd of cats. And what do you do with a loose herd of cats is you try to funnel them so that you control them a little bit better. Of course, shit's working incredibly well. I mean, it's a lot easier to control fat, drunk people than it is to control a skinny high person, especially sativa. You know, there is an Orthodox America, red, white, and blue, baseball, apple pie, Christmas, 4th of July, fireworks, where men are men and women are women, or sheep are women too, and men are men, or men are women too, sometimes, but they don't act like women. They just act like men, but they pretend in private in their closet. It's sick shit out there. It really is. The red, white, and blue, American Orthodoxy, and the alternate is like this visionary America, progressive America, more rights for American, better workers' rights, and more equity, and more political equity, and more wealth equity, and more environmental equity and justice. But there's definitely a group of people that are not down with that. And they actually have, and those greedy people that are not down with that actually have stupid followers, people that agree with them and say, yeah, because you're successful, you must be talking the truth. That's all. People have very materialistic type of ways of interpreting reality. They look at a person who's successful, like Donald Trump, that wears a nice suit and everything like that, and they speak like them. In other words, like an ignorant turd. And so they go, hey, this is a person that deserves my respect. They are like me. And look at them. They enjoyed wealth like we can't imagine. They must know something that we don't know. Fuck. There are more people that believe in the America. If there's more people that want to turn back the clock and pretend that America, well, and that want America to dominate the globe in absolute, complete uh, fashion, religiously, culturally, consumption wise, work wise. I mean, you know, conquer the next planet. God, it's just this this savage, ravaging, parasitic beast that just wants to eat and consume and eat and consume and eat and consume and eat and consume. I don't like that America. I'm not part of it. I really am not. I do want to leave. I mean, people want to do a GoFundMe. I would gladly leave. I mean, I don't like being in this shit. And personally, I know that the level of materialistic greed is so high that it's impossible to fucking turn this tide around. And the fucking the ship is sinking. It's either going to turn into a right wing fascist totalitarian dictatorship, or it's just going to fall into complete chaos. And frankly, I think the everything indicates that it's turning into a right wing fascist totalitarian state. You know, Christian Christian fascist. That's very important to make that distinction. Christian fascist totalitarian absolutist state. Right wing global terrorist uh, global terrorist nation. We are the uh, we are El Capo on this planet right now. We are El Capo. We could do so much better, so much better. There's just a bunch of greedy fucks at the top. What can I say? Okay, that's all I've said. So just ruminate on that, and write down a question if you want. Oh,